Alright, I don't know how this is going to record. It's hard to get my camera in this angle over the sharpener because it's clear at the edge of the table. That's how you have to clamp on, use the clamp. So in my video about identifying a burr, one of the things I mentioned was you can make a knife nice and polished. I'll just pull this out of the clamp. I've got it in there pretty tight. But you can I have tape on there, and I'll tell you why in a second. But this is a Shaman I got secondhand, and the knife had been sharpened by the previous owner, and it has a pretty decent polished edge on it, right? But it's not sharp. I mean, at all. Like it struggles to cut through paper. So, just gonna get some. I like using this average, these pads because they're really thin. They're really thin paper. I mean, it kind of cuts through it. But, not very sharp. But it looks sharp, right? It's all polished and nice. Well, they probably never created a burr like I talked about. So I use that tape, so when I put this in, first of all, don't want to, you most likely will not mar up the finish on this with the wicked edge. Just the way the stones hit, you're not going to scratch your blade. They really only touch the edge. But I like to do that because then I can take a Sharpie and kind of draw. In fact, it's not low enough in the clamp either. See, this is why you got to do this stuff off camera. Because I need to have this in there. There we go. That's better. Alright. So, one of my... It's not tight enough. One of the subscribers wanted to have a tutorial on how to knock off a burr. So, we're going to do that. But we got to create a burr first, and then we're going to have to reprofile this knife and all that. So, I'm not going to put all that on camera. I'm going to put just the specifics of once we have a burr, how to knock it off. Stay tuned. Alright. So I want you guys to listen. Hopefully the microphone picks this up. You hear that? My fingernail catching? That sound? That's a burr. Another way you can identify it is by sound. We talked about some visual cues last time, so now you can do it by sound. Okay, so we got a burr going on this side. Now we need to form it on the other side. Now that took about 35 passes with the 200 grit stone, diamond stone. So what I'm going to do is going to duplicate that process on this side. Most of the time it does not take the same number of passes, but I'm going to try, to stick consistent, and then we'll show you how to knock off the burr. So now we got to create a burr on the opposite side. So I'm going to start doing this. I probably won't record all this because wanted to show you guys a little bit how I do the motions. I scrub with the 200 grit stone. So that was about 20 passes. You notice there's some plastic coming off the, oh my god, look. See, same thing I showed yesterday on the video. I just did 20 passes on this side, and there's already a burr on this side that you can see the little hairs stuck to it from the rag. Oh yeah, I mean it just catches them. That's typical. For some reason it's easier just to form a burr one side. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a few more passes on this side. Probably like 5 more. Well, I can actually see it visibly from this angle without even the magnifying glass. It's pretty cool. Okay, that's probably good. Alright, so now to knock off the burr, what we're going to do is same grit, and instead of using the scrubbing motions, we're going to use this kind of motion. So okay, there, I'm not using a ton of, okay, so notice now when I wipe it that there's no, it's not catching, so that means we've knocked off the burr on both sides. So that, my friends, is literally the most important part of sharpening, because once you get the edged apex like that, you don't have a burr. From the rest of it, it's pretty easy from here on out. It's not even a big deal. So now we're going to switch to the 600 grit, and from now you just progress through your stones, and I'm going to use the same motions and do the same number of strokes. So I did about 40. So that's 40 on both sides. So that's like a really 600 grit, toothy edge. Yeah, that's already feeling pretty sharp. Let's grab one of these papers here. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh well. So this is one way you can test sharpness on a wicked edge. You can kind of take a piece of paper like this and see that it just pretty effortlessly cut through that, and it's clean cut. That's a good sign. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the 600s, but that's essentially how you knock off a burr.